So everybody, my name is Melinda Powell and I'm the Brown County 4-H Youth Development Educator. This is our third session of 2020-2021 annual leader training. This year's focus and theme has been really about giving volunteers, youth and adults, tools and resources to lead, laugh, and learn in 4-H. We might have talked about that in the past as the three parts of a meeting: business, recreation, and education. And our special guest tonight actually helped us to reframe that thought process from business, education, and recreation to leading, laughing, and learning. And so we've said this many times for the last 2 weeks. A huge special thanks to Laura Huber from Wood County for helping us to reframe that. There are four of us: Dawn Vandevort from Door County, Jill Jorgensen from Kewaunee County, and Marie Witzel from Dodge County. We are the four people that have kind of been leading this out, but we really turned this over to one of our special guests and good colleagues, great friends in the 4-H program. There isn't much more that, aside from thanks for all that you've done for us to help us reframe, Laura. We are going to be talking tonight specifically about laughing in 4-H. And Laura, I think we're going to get started with a conversation about why that's important. I'm going to turn it over to Jill to get started.
You know, Laura, when I think of recreation, we always think of fun and games and liveliness. And I think there's a lot of things that go into this. But one of the things I think is most important about recreation is creating a sense of belonging, really creating that environment where all young people can come together. They feel safe, both physically and emotionally. There's caring adults. There's other people who are really genuinely interested in them, what's going on with their lives, their projects, all of the things that make them great. Can you tell me a little bit more? How does recreation help with that in the club or your project?
Yeah, I think if we go back in time in our own experiences, the places that we built friendships, where we found those people that accepted us for us, was where we had some downtime. It was maybe on the playground. Maybe it was on the bus as we were heading to a sports game or a marching band competition or something like that. Time for young people to just kind of relax and be themselves and really get to know one another is so crucial for them and their development. And we need to build that into our 4-H programs because they have something like that in school, but they need a place where they can build that relationship, that sense of belonging, that sense of safety in this different environment. You know, when young people are at school, they are generally with same aged kids, and they might be in the same classroom of 20 kids all day long. And 4-H is different, right? We pull kids from different schools. We have everyone from 5-year-old kindergarten all the way up to that year after high school. So we have to very purposefully give space for young people to chill out, relax, have fun, and get to know one another.
You know, I think, Laura, that's so important. And I also think about when you create that atmosphere where those young people feel so welcome, you need that as your base. Because if you don't have that space where those young people and even the adults in the room feel welcome and included and important and safe, it's going to be really hard to do any of the other cool things we do in our meetings. So thinking through how can we make that happen and what are some of the things we can do? And I think you've got some great things. We have one that we're going to start with today. I think that's going to really move us to an activity that maybe some of our club leaders and volunteers and our project leaders can use throughout their projects.
You bet. But if I could just take a quick step back, I want to bring two things up. One is this is not my activity. I thought it was so important to invite young people to this conversation so that they could be the ones telling us what they wanted to do. So this week, we invited a group of incredible young people from across Wisconsin to come together and decide what activities they wanted volunteers to learn about. These are activities that are youth recommended. Now, what more can I say? If I can't listen to the youth, I don't know what I'm doing here, right?
Yeah,
And
Laura, that goes so good with what we've talked about the other weeks. You know what a great point.
yeah. And the other thing I want to say is that young people now, they are really accustomed to
Mhm.
meeting and talking with one another across a screen. And it's not so comfortable for adults. And I want to recognize that. I want to tell all adults here that I see you and I hear you and I understand. And just like we tell our young people, the more that you put into something, the more you get out. So I strongly encourage everybody, if you are able, to turn on your camera and participate fully. Let the young people see that you're there. Let them see your reactions. Um, Talking to a blank screen is a really difficult thing. And so this is one way that you can learn and support our young people at the same time.
You know, Laura, I think that is so true, everything you just pointed out. And it really builds on everything we've talked about in the past two previous trainings. So, as we've been building up, we've talked a lot about opportunities for young people to lead in both education and business. And how do we help encourage those young people to step into those important roles because they're so knowledgeable and capable and so good. We learned so much from the young people that are with us today. And I am so excited for what they're going to share with us over the next hour. It's been the highlight of my whole week. And I think it's going to be a lot of other people's too.
Absolutely. So they've just chosen 4 activities. They actually came up with a whole long list, and together we worked through them. But these are the 4 that they chose. And I want to tell you that they are really very different because, you know, fun is different for every person. We all have our own idea of what is fun. You might want to go downhill skiing. I might want to sit next to the fire with my cup of hot cocoa.
Yes.
And it's fun, you know, even though they're totally different, they're both fun activities.
And we'll share those lists with you, as Melinda mentioned in the chat. So, Laura, are we set to go to our first phase today to start with our mindful moments?
I think now is a great time to go
Perfect.
ahead. Yep.
That's going to be our first activity. Laura, do you want to tell us a little bit more about this first activity and the young person that's going to be working with you to talk to us a little bit more about what this mindful moment activity is?
Sure. So if you've ever been to Fall Forum, you know that, well, how about Fall Forum in recent years? It's a great opportunity for older youth and volunteers to come together and learn different activities. And for the last several years, mindfulness has been included, and it has been incredibly popular with young people. This year we did Fall Forum virtually for the first time, and we pulled in just moments here and there, a chance for us to kind of de-stress, just to kind of relax. And it really spoke to young people. So when we met on Monday, one of our young people said, you know what, I think that we should build a mindful moment into this activity. And what it is, it's just something to help us all clear our minds and get us ready for the rest of today. Kind of set aside the stress of earlier and be all in here together now.
Getting ready for what comes next. Youth of all ages and adults can benefit from mindful moments. Now I invite you all to grab a pen and paper, and then please turn off your camera and join me as we focus on gratitude. When we regularly express gratitude for the gifts in our lives, we help our sense of well-being. For this practice, I'm going to give you some things to think about. As I do, I'd like you to write words or draw pictures to show what you're grateful for. Don't worry about having awesome art or neatness. Just focus on what you are grateful for in the moment and then bring your attention back to your breath. Next slide, please. Start by drawing a circle. Then take a slow breath in, hold it for 3 seconds, and then slowly, slowly release the breath. Next slide, please. Take a moment to think about someone who made you feel loved or cared about today. It might be a person or a pet, someone you know well, or someone you hardly know at all. Maybe they did something for you or paid attention to you. It feels good to be noticed. Maybe you got a hug or a smile or a message that let you know they were thinking of you. Whatever it was, write their name or draw a quick picture of them at the top of the circle. Next slide, please. Next, think about someone who you may have helped to feel loved or cared about today. Again, it might be a person or a pet, someone you know well, or someone you hardly know at all. Maybe you did something for them or paid attention to them. Just like you, it feels good for them to feel noticed. Maybe you gave a hug or a smile or sent a message that let them know you were thinking of them. Whatever it was, write their name or draw a quick picture of them at the bottom of the circle. When we help others feel loved and cared for, it reminds us that we have something to give and that we're an important part of a huge web of life. Next slide, please. Now let's think about someplace we feel safe. Think of this idea of place broadly. It could be a physical location like an apartment or house or a bed or a beautiful spot in nature. Or it could be an emotional space like a family, a group of friends, or an online setting where we know we can ask questions or feel good about ourselves. It could even be a book or a movie or music or a hobby that helps us get away in our minds. However you choose to think of place, it should be a space that helps us feel comfortable and confident, protected from things that might hurt us, and supported in being who we are. Write a couple words or draw a picture of the place that makes you feel safe right now, and let yourself feel gratitude for having that place in your life. Next slide, please. Then let's think about all the many things we've experienced today, from the time you woke up to the present moment. What is one experience, large or small, that you feel grateful for right now? Write or draw a picture of that experience and let yourself feel grateful for it. Next slide, please. Next, think back to all of the emotions that have come and gone today. When we're practicing gratitude, we usually think of comfortable emotions like happiness, excitement, or love. We can also feel grateful for uncomfortable emotions, such as anger, fear, or frustration. When we recognize these emotions without staying stuck in them, they tell us a lot about what and who we care about. All our emotions remind us that we are alive and we can learn from them. They come and go from moment to moment. What is one emotion you had today that you feel grateful for? Write that down or draw a picture of it. Next slide, please. Our job in life is to grow as people. We can do that by learning new things. We can also relearn things we may have forgotten or unlearn old habits and ways of thinking that aren't helping us anymore. What is one thing that you learned, relearned, or unlearned today that you are grateful for? Write that down or draw a picture of it. Then take a moment to feel gratitude for it. Next slide, please. Finally, write your name or draw a quick picture of yourself in the middle of the circle. Then take a moment to give yourself some gratitude for being you, for being an important part of the world around you, for being here, wherever here is for you. As we let ourselves feel grateful for ourselves and all we're surrounded with, let's take a deep breath in, hold it for 3 seconds, and slowly release the breath. Again, a daily gratitude practice like this one can help our well-being and change the way we look at the world around us. Try it for 30 days and see what you notice.
So is this something, when do you think I can do this during a meeting? Is this a beginning, an end, a middle, anytime? What do you think? And I think, Frances, do you want to go back and answer that again? Because you did such a good job. I love hearing from you.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, our personal club doesn't start meetings with activities, but we do them right in the middle. So I think that's a great time for our club to use mindful moments because we take a break right after old business and we sort of get everyone refocused and say, take a moment to catch your breath before we get ready for new business. You can use it at the beginning to, again, get everyone on the same page and ready. You can use it at the end to, especially gratitude practices really help me realize what I truly get out of 4-H or out of that meeting. You can really use them at any moment where you have a few extra seconds in your meeting.
I love that. And I think that's such a good point, Francis. So anytime that you have a time for some reflection, you need that moment, you need to come back and center. What a great thing. Thank you so much. I think we're going to move on to our next activity because we've got 3 more fun ones and I want to make sure we get to them all tonight. So Marie, I know that you are all about fun in a meeting and you're going to intro with Laura a little bit more about how we can add a fun activity to our meeting that's a little bit different than this first one.
2 things I wanted to mention before we head off to that, Laura. Give me 1 second. It was exciting to see people in the chat say that young people have done these mindful moments at school and adults hadn't tried them before, and that really gave them an opportunity to reflect on their day. And yes, our plan is to have these handouts available for you after this training for those people that were wondering, can we get this information? Definitely, we are going to share all of those things after the meeting today. So Laura, I know what our next activity is, and I'm very excited, less about the fun, Jill, but more about learning, because this is a great way for us to, for people to learn more about projects, but also doing it in a fun way. And actually the first time I had to do this activity, I watched young people because they were in college already and they were in different states. And so they were able to do this when they were, and so it's perfect for a virtual setting. So tell us, Laura, about how we can learn and have recreation.
I think it's important to realize that you can lead and laugh, you can lead and learn, you can learn and laugh, you can do all 3 of these things at the very same time. And so when we mentioned this to the young people, they said, we love Kahoot, let's play a Kahoot. And we are going to shorten up this breakout session a little bit to try to make sure that we have time for everything. But you'll see that the Kahoot is fun, it's fast-paced, and you might need some learning time, adults. So this is a great one to reach out to the young people in your club to help lead. So if we want to go ahead to breakouts now, I think that would be great.
So now we'll play Kahoot. Kahoot is an online game platform that many young people already know and love. It's a fun and fast-paced multiple choice game. You can customize a Kahoot to test project knowledge, or you can use a pre-made Kahoot to just have some fun. Either way, the place you start is at create.kahoot.it. This is in the resources list for you. You can do a lot with the free version, so you don't need to worry about buying a subscription. Kahoot will work best for youth in 3rd grade and up, but younger players can join in with someone to help them read the questions. It's easiest to play if you have a second device to work with, one to show the questions and the other to answer, but you could also flip between 2 browser tabs on your computer. So now, if you would bring up the screen. Okay, so let's play. To join the Kahoot, you go to kahoot.it and then enter the code that shows on the screen. Give you guys a couple minutes. Next, you'll be asked to enter a nickname. If you could enter your first name and an initial, that would be great. Or just your first name works too. Oh yeah, is that everyone? Yeah, I think so. Okay, now it's everyone, I think. You are not able to join the Kahoot. It's fun to answer the questions in the Zoom chat. We're not playing for prizes. So let's play this 5-question game. When should recreation and laughing be built into meeting? Beginning, at the end, in the middle, all 3. All 3. Next. Francis looks like she hit it first. What is a 4-H slogan? This one's kind of tough. All of them are somewhere. I don't know which one's the slogan and which one's which. Ooh, now you have Nathan and Dawn moved up. True or false? Youth must be in 3rd grade to join 4-H. False. Pretty sure you just have to be in kindergarten, or maybe it's first grade. It's one of those two. It's not third grade. And Laura is up to the front. Wisconsin 4-H volunteers are blank. All of the above. Spots stayed the same. True or false? Fun 4-H programs keep youth engaged and coming back. True. And let's see who's on the podium. Third place, we have Francis. Second, we have got Laura. First, spotlight dance. Dawn. Dawn won, woohoo. Okay. So great job for playing. Would you want to try Kahoot in your club? Ask an officer, a recreation leader, or even a project youth leader to create a game. They'll love the recognition, and giving a youth a role in a club activity is so important. It builds a sense of belonging while helping youth stretch their leadership muscles. So some examples, how could you use a Kahoot? Feel free to open up your microphone and talk or write thoughts in a chat. Francis?
This year, state horsebowl and hippology is going to be completely online. So Kahoots are a really helpful way to practice that and learn more about horses and get points.
Thanks for sharing. Any other ideas?
We've used Kahoots at the end of club meetings. We have a lot of younger kids, younger middle school age, but it's whether it's Disney or whatever it is, everybody has fun. The adults have fun, can get pretty competitive. So it's nice to end a meeting after you've talked about lots of business. Just a nice way to end a meeting.
Yeah, some of the fun ones I've done with my club is like Halloween and Christmas trivia. There's also like finish the lyric things. Those are fun too. We do those for school sometimes. You can make one for pretty much anything.
Laura, it looked to me like Kahoot was a blast. I know some people didn't get to play very much. Other people got to play a lot more. But our whole plan of these breakout sessions tonight is just to give people an idea of what that might look like and how that might work, right?
Absolutely. And Kahoot is a ton of fun, and it works well in person for young people who have devices, and it works really well virtually. So that's one thing I want to point out tonight. What we're talking about isn't just for this COVID pandemic period. What you learn tonight can definitely be built into your programs after all of this is over, because the fun and the connection is always important to 4-H. Not just right now when 4-H looks a little different than normal.
So I'm going to send it over to, I'm not sure, Dawn or Melinda, who one of those cool red shirts, to get us going for breakout number 3.
So I will do that. Then we want to, part of the reason we did this activity tonight was to give you guys just samples of activities and ways that you can try new things on. And I love the sign behind Laura's back that says, "Welcome friends, just try it." So we're here to try some other ways to connect with our clubs in virtual or in-person spaces, hybrid spaces. And so I think the next one that we're going to talk about is something that maybe some of us have done in person, but we can also do it in virtual spaces, and that's an escape room. So Laura, an escape room, tell me a little bit about what that is and how it could be used to support the laughing and the learning in 4-H.
And I think the leading as well. When I think about escape rooms, I think about fun team building. And it also highlights the importance of all different people with all different skills, strengths, and talents. So an escape room is built up of all sorts of different puzzles, like there's clues hidden in all sorts of different ways. And a team has to come together to find the clues, figure out what they mean, and solve the puzzle. And they're timed generally. Some of you may have already done these in person because there are businesses in our communities that do this. We can buy games in the game department. And right now there's even free virtual ones out there. So we are going to be trying on one of those free virtual escape rooms tonight. The one caution I have is that once you have somebody who has participated in a given escape room, they know all the answers. So you're going to want to find a different escape room sometime later. And different escape rooms are appropriate for different ages. So do pay attention to that as well. Young people, as we switch you off into the breakout rooms, I encourage you to skip the beginning of the script and just go ahead into the play because we're kind of watching time, okay?
Awesome. So we're going to put you back out into your breakout rooms. We'll talk a little bit about what we learned in it when we come back. So enjoy your breakout room. Good luck, everyone.
So then our third activity we're going to do here is an escape room. We'll be doing this on a Google form. I mean, you can do it virtually or in person. It's been around for 10 to 15 years. I mean, it's a good activity to build teamwork among club members and just have some fun. So we'll get that pulled up now. And it'll be a Google form where it'll provide clues and images and things, and you'll have to answer questions based upon what you think is the correct answer. And I believe this one was created in Pennsylvania by the Peters Township Public Library. And so we'll go ahead to the bottom there and begin. So then it'll read you a little passage there. So we'll say that it is your first year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. You could not be more excited. You were just sorted into your dream house and you had dinner with your new classmates. It is time to head back to the common room and get to know your roommates. As you head into the cozy room, the house prefect announces that you have a fun team building activity to complete before you get too settled into your new digs. The house prefect tells you about a new Muggle trend where they lock themselves in rooms and have to answer puzzles to get out. No magic at all. And then the next thing you know, the room is completely dark and you hear a door slam. So we'll go to our next one here. Now it says that you're in a high, bright, circular room with a single door and a bunch of numbers on the handle. And I'll just kind of skim through this so we can get the idea. And so as you search for clues, all you notice is that there's a poster on the wall and a small wooden table in the middle of the room. So we'll go to the next one here then. And then on the table, you see a strange, thin black rectangle. You pick it up and it says swipe to open. After several failed attempts, you were able to swipe up, but it's just blank. So as we proceed along here, we got some text messages. So there's some books there. You can go ahead and read that. We've got some text messages and it talks about some books. We've got the Sizzling Scales, a collection of Daring Dragon poetry by Fury. The Magical Maps and the Art of Not Getting Lost by Con Pass. And then some more there. So just take a minute to look at that. And we'll scroll down and we've got some posters there. We have to figure out how the bubbles and this poster are connected, or how those books and things are. So take a moment to look at that then. So we can go ahead and now it's going to ask us what number combination do we want to try, and we can always flip back too if you need to with your group and look at the previous slide. So does anybody have any ideas and what number they would like to try? Just feel free to unmute yourselves and say your thoughts.
I feel like I remember having it something to do with the genre of the book, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dewey Decimal System is a way to organize books by genre, right? So maybe if we added the Dewey Decimal numbers of both of the books, that would give us the right number.
Because we got one about the dragon and the poetry, so that would.
So wait, I don't get it because there's nothing on these Dewey Decimal System things that say anything about dragons.
Well, no, but I mean my only guess would be that they're books, and we've got that literature one there, and then you've got.
Oh, because it says rhymes, you think it's about the literature and not about the dragon?
You know, this is why we have teamwork here to get through these.
I think it was a book of dragon poetry, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
How about, so it's dragon rhymes and maps. So maybe something like the literature and the social studies, like added together, maybe?
So literature
I almost think
is
that maps might mean geography, which would be 900.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense. I missed the geography. So maybe add 800 and 900.
That's 1700. Is that an
Is
option?
that an option on the next screen?
That is an option.
Maybe try that then.
So we can go ahead and try that.
Hey, nice job, guys.
good job.
Looks like we got it. So then the door opens for us. And I mean, we're pretty proud at this point that we were able to solve this puzzle. And so we're temporarily blinded by a bright light, and the door shuts behind us as we take a moment to adjust to the new surroundings. And then we realize that the door behind us has subsequently disappeared, and we're now in what looks to be a bank vault at Gringotts. And we're surrounded by piles of this money, and they reflect the torchlight from the walls. And it says, as we continue to explore it, we find a table with a pair of scales, like shown below. And then each scale is tilted to one side with coins in the tray, while the other side is empty. And maybe if we can balance them, we'll be able to leave. Then we take a moment to remind ourselves how many, you can read that there. And then it says the first scale has 7 galleons in one of its trays, and how many sickles should you put to the other side to balance it and make them equal? I think it's got a link there. We open that up and we'll talk about. Laura, do you want me to just talk about that? Because I got it here.
You pulled it up already?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm just seeing a little tiny algebra equation and I'm loving this one, but I don't know the exchange rate.
So there are 17 sickles in a galleon, if I'm even pronouncing that right, and 29 nuts in a sickle, meaning there are 493 nuts in a galleon.
So welcome to my Harry Potter nerd world. They're galleons, sickles, and canutes.
That haven't read Harry Potter in a while, Laura, but we got 7.
I would have thought it'd
Matter
be
for the
nuts.
solution, but
Canutes that's better, but it says you got 7 of those there, and there's 17 sickles in each one, so 17 times 7 is 119. So that would be my input there.
should I go for it, guys?
Good.
Somebody have
Yeah,
to-
I'd say go for it.
Go for it.
Okay. So then it says after a moment, when we do that, the room begins to rumble and we can feel the floor shaking, and then it stops. And then we decided to balance the next scale. So the second scale holds 2 galleon and 2 sickles in a tray. How many canutes should you place on the other tray to balance it? Well, if I go back here, we've got, we want to put everything in terms of the canutes. So the 2 galleons are, there's 493 canutes in each one of those. So that's 984, if I'm correct, or 986 canutes in those, in the 2 galleons. And then does anybody else have any other ideas here?
No, that part made sense to me, but how many canutes were in a sickle?
Well, if I look at that, there are 29 canutes and a sickle. And how many sickles did we have?
2.
2. So
Mhm.
2 times 29 is 58 plus 986, which is 1,044. Is that an option?
Are you doing this all off the top of your head?
Of course, Laura. I ain't got a calculator here.
Wow, I am impressed.
That's amazing.
You are faster than my finger typing into a calculator.
Well, let's see if that's right. It is right. So then the floor begins shaking again, and a hole opens, swallowing us. So let's see where we end up. And then we land in desks in the classroom. The classroom doesn't look like any of the ones you saw on your tour. So you and your friends explore it, but only find locked doors, some papers, and a large desk with a strange lock on the drawer. The lock has arrows in 4 directions and a mechanism in the middle you can move. Your one friend recognizes it as a directional lock that only moves up, down, left, and right. And maybe the papers hold a clue on how to open it.
So I don't know if you guys all just saw this, but Francis just shared in chat that if you wanted to do this in your club, it could be really fun to have club members take turns reading and see if they could do it in a British accent in honor of Harry Potter.
I think that could be
Oh,
interesting.
that'd be fun.
Go for it, Laura.
Francis.
So how much more of this do you think is appropriate?
I think there's only a couple more pages left. I think we can finish it
Okay.
and see about
Okay.
adding it.
So then here we've got, oh, well, does somebody else want to read it?
I'll read it. I won't do a British accent because I feel like it's going to be terrible, but I'll read it. You and your friends take a moment to look through the papers you found. There seem to be several copies of the same 2 papers. A list of spells to study. Some of them are highlighted on there. And then wand motions with arrows.
So then we got, wants us to, what direction should we open the lock based on the wand movements and the spells, which are clues. So anybody will take thoughts on that.
I think we need to match up like the highlighted spells and then what direction the wand goes in with the spell on the spell chart. So the first one I think was stupefy,
Mm-hmm.
and that one ends in a right pointing. So maybe right first.
So right first.
Yeah. Let's go up.
Does
Then we
anybody-
have Ascendio.
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 Mhm. Oh, that looks like that one ends in it points up.
I haven't even found it. Where is it?
On the second row, second from the left.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Okay,
Well,
that would
ascend
be-
means up, so that makes sense, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
then that leaves us with the one where we said right first, and then we've got up, up, and down, because that's the only one that starts with right and then goes up.
So do you guys just want to go with that one, or do you want to keep working through?
Keep on working through. Brandon's trying to cheat his way out.
He's trying to beat the clock. Okay.
So the next one.
Lumos.
Next one was Lumos.
I don't see that one on here.
It's third
Oh,
row.
Lumos and Nox.
There it is.
I think it's the up one because and Knox would be the down.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm thinking Brandon was right. We're just gonna try it.
We'll go with that one.
Live dangerously.
Well, we pull down in the lock and it opens. So Then we're able to open the drawer and there's a single book inside. So we all reach for it. We all want it. The book is a portkeys. So now we know that's gonna probably take us somewhere. Oh, it's transported us in a dim room with a small cot. It feels very cold and damp, and we hear the lapping of water, and there are bars on one wall.
We're in Azkaban.
Hopefully this ends well here for us. And so we slide open the barred door and begin walking around the building. There are rows and levels of cells for prisoners, but you don't see any Dementors. And as we make our way outside, you find the sign that tells you where you are. Not sure how we ended up in Alcatraz, but here we are. And so our roommate tells us that it's a famous smuggler prison in the United States that was supposed to be impossible to escape from, but now it's a park that people visit and tour during the day. Then we can see a boat leaving the small island. Must have been the last tour group for the day. So then we head back inside to explore and see what else we can find. We find a large room and a sign that tells us this was the prison library when it held inmates a long time ago. And in it, we find empty bookshelves, a map, and papers with weather information on them. The weather papers list the highest and lowest recorded temperatures for each state in the U.S. Then we come across one locked area, another cell with area with combination locks. So they're kept closed with the help of two locks that can only be opened with certain numbers and letters. One lock is red and the other is blue. And then as we notice that it grows darker outside, we see a blue glow coming from outside. Of course, we decide to check it out.
I'm ready to get off this island.
I think we all are. And then so we follow the light to a building, and it's barely a building at all, and it's pretty dilapidated. And then there's a small metal tube the light is coming from. And one of our friends explained that it's a flashlight. And then one of them says it's a black light. So then we can say that they illuminate things that the naked eye might not see. And then we notice glowing socks and blue teeth. So we all decide to go back inside and look for clues. So we head back to the library, I believe, and we shine it around, but nothing new appears. So we decide to go back to the mostly empty library. I guess we weren't in the library to begin with, but as we enter it, we find writing that is illuminated across the floor. So we see the highest high and the lowest low are only just a part of the show. Look to the map to guide your way, or else locked up forever you'll stay. So then we shine it over a map and two arrows appear. So how are the map and the lists of high and low temperatures connected? So then what combinations could open the lock? So we head to the next one and we'll come back to that. Oh yeah, so then a couple combinations on the next page. So then we'll have to. Any ideas?
I think we need to.
I'm just going to stab a guess. Oh. Well,
I think I know though.
Yeah,
so Idaho
Blue is cold, right?
The arrow pointing down would have been cold, and the arrow pointing up would have been the high. So I think you need to do like Idaho with the high one, with the high temperature for Idaho, and then the low temperature for what is that, South Carolina?
Well, for the blue one, well, that's a blue arrow for that low temperature there, and that's in South Carolina. So I think if we start on the answer that starts with SC, which is the abbreviation for South Carolina, and then even if we look back at the temperatures for South Carolina.
So you're saying this one.
Try that one.
Yeah, it's that one. Okay, so it opens, and then we turn our attention to the other one. This has got, okay.
So what's the abbreviation for Idaho?
Idaho, ID, I think, right?
That would sound right. So let's
This one.
that one.
Give that one a try. Okay.
Okay, it opens and we slide open the door, and all of our roommates walk through the doorway into this locked room. As we enter, the scenery around us begin to melt away, and we're once again in a familiar setting. We're back to Hogwarts, so we're back to our dorm room, and the house prefect is congratulating us that we escaped, and looks like we did it.
Pat yourselves on the back. Go team.
Good job, team.
Oh, and as everybody comes back in, some of us were able to solve it and some of us were unable to solve it. So,
It's kind of like a real escape room, though.
Mhm.
oh gosh. Awesome.
I
People-
wasn't ready to leave yet.
I don't think a lot of us are ready to leave. And I think that is the beauty of doing these kinds of things. And so I'm really excited to come back to Laura and to Francis one more time as we talk this one through. One of the things we said as we geared up to go into the breakout room was the word teamwork and team building. And for those of you in 4-H adult world, we as volunteers, we use the word life skills, communication, critical thinking, decision making, all through our project work. And there was a lot of critical thinking happening in breakout room number 2. Laura, and maybe Francis, can you talk with us a little bit about how this could be used to build up those life skills as well?
Absolutely. I spent some time in breakout room 3 during this activity, and I absolutely loved the communication that was going on between the different players. And I think sometimes it's really difficult to kind of defend your thoughts. And they did it so well and with such respect and compassion for one another. If that's not life skills, I don't know what it is. Everybody in there has their own ideas and they know that they're all on the same team. They all want the group to succeed. And so that's my thought on escape rooms. And if we wanted to go into other kinds of fun and engaging activities, we could create a whole different list of the life skills that they are helping young people develop. Fun is not nonsense. Fun is critical to development.
Well, and
Laura-
that leads so super well into the next section. I think Marie might have a question, and Dawn, then you can lead out our final activity.
I did, Laura. There was a couple of people that asked in the chat. This was not an activity that any one of the group came up with. This was like a pre-planned escape room, right? And so they could get ones that were already done.
Absolutely. And like there's all kinds of options. This one was created by a public library in Pennsylvania using a Google form. Anybody could create an escape room using a Google form. And that library has some other ones available. There's more out there if you search the web. But like I cautioned earlier, I would always double check to make sure they're age appropriate for the group you're working with.
Awesome.
Okay, so Dawn, over to you.
Sounds great. So Laura, you said one of the last reasons why we absolutely need to include recreation, and it's the fun word. So why is having fun, it seems so easy and so common sense, but why is having fun such an awesome part of what we need to be doing?
This is why we joined 4-H. For several years, I've been saying if our young people leave a meeting without having laughed, we've failed. They need fun. That's what they're coming for. They're coming for fun, for learning. And I think sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that serious is important and forgetting that laughter and learning is really what 4-Hers join this program for. So if you can make the kids laugh, you're going to bring them back the next time. And if they keep coming back, they're going to keep developing life skills. They're going to build their leadership potential. Like, I think that fun and laughter is the key to 4-H.
Absolutely. And so we're going to share with you in the last breakout room. This was one of the youth who helped plan tonight. This was like their number one super fun activity. And if you ask a lot of the staff members, this is our number one super fun activity. So we are excited to have you experience this. It is the Wayne game, and some of you may have heard of it. And if not, there's a handout that we'll share with you. And I'll send everybody. Oh, go ahead,
I
Laura.
was going to say, and youth, again, what I would say is maybe a couple of comments about how the rules work, but then just get right into gameplay. Let everybody enjoy the fun of this program.
All right, here we go. Out to the breakout rooms.
So our next game we're going to lead tonight, last game, is going to be the Wayne game. It's been a popular game at 4-H camp. Many young people probably know it, love it, and have played it before. And it's an online scavenger hunt. So when we get started, I'll go ahead and say an item. That item could be anything. And everybody on the Zoom will shut their camera off, go run around their house, get that item, bring it back, turn their camera on, show it to the camera, and whoever I see come back first can get double points, triple, however you want to do that. So you can all turn your cameras off, and I've got 5 items we'll go through here. All right, your first item to find would be a cell phone. Oh boy, that was close. Laura and Brandon came on with that pretty fast.
That is not what you expect for Wayne game.
Well, I got some different ones here, so we can go for the second one. Find 47 cents exactly. Oh, Laura's shaking her head. Doesn't look like she's got that.
No money at the office. I'll keep an eye out for who comes on first, though, for you, Brandon. Or sorry, Nathan.
This one's a tough one. Oh my goodness.
I think I had it. I got what, a quarter, a dime, 2 nickels, and 2 pennies. Does that sound right?
That sounds right. Need to show it so we have proof.
All right, Nathan, you know where I keep all the change.
Oh, looks like Samantha's got it.
Nathan, are you keeping score? Am I keeping score? Who's keeping score?
I really wasn't going to keep score for this. I mean, I can, so it would be, I don't know, do we need to take score for this necessarily?
I might have gotten both my brother and sister now.
No, I think that's something that a group could customize for themselves, right? So if they have prizes, they might want to keep score one way. If there's no prizes and it's just for fun, there's no need to keep score, but it's kind of fun to announce who the first people back are.
Right,
Yeah, so-
everybody got a cell phone, but I think Laura got it first. And Brandon. So go 10 points if you bring it back first, 5 points if you manage to get it. Now, everybody find 47 cents. I know Laura didn't, Dawn didn't,
Nope.
Brandon did, and he was first, and then Samantha and Francis both came back with that. Okay, are we ready for our third one?
Ready.
Now go find something with the clover on it.
Right here.
Samantha wins that round.
These are from all 4 of them. Still sitting here.
Hey, I can't see myself. Can you see my bag?
Ooh, nice tote bag.
It's the only thing I can find.
That's the best part of the Wayne game, is seeing what everybody brings back to the camera.
It's really fun to leave the computer and come back to everybody too.
Mhm.
Like it gets your blood pumping and your heart beating.
Uh-huh.
Also, a bit of competition is always fun.
True.
Still waiting on Francis to come back with something.
Sorry, I'm zooming out of my basement. I don't think I'll get many of these.
Oh. Gotta be somewhere in your house that gives easy access to everywhere. All right.
Then I'll miss the next thing being announced.
Next item would be book, any kind of book.
Yeah. She's got like 3 different books.
I got the one
that.
sitting right under the, I got the one sitting right under the laptop.
I was waiting for
I love that everybody like this was a super fast one. Go readers go.
Oh, Laura, this is the book that holds up my laptop higher.
I have a
Laura,
Lego box.
Who came back with that first? Was that you or Samantha?
I don't
think
know.
it was me. I think it was us here. Technically.
I'll give that to you, and it looks like everybody else had it.
Yeah, and you know,
All right, our last.
I think now is a great time to mention too that when you have several people in one house, yeah, like this is all supposed to be fun. So yes, let them all play together. Is there really a good reason why not to?
I can speak from experience that sometimes it makes it more fun because then we're yelling at each other like, go get it.
Siblings can be a good help when you got yourself and 2 brothers or sisters or other siblings, and you can have a crew of like 3 or 4 go run around the house for you. All right, our last item, unless we would like to do more. This is kind of unconventional, but come back to the computer with a spoon.
Man. Oh.
Well, Laura lucks out on this one.
I've got one in my car.
I usually have a spoon sitting here.
Samantha has got it first.
Oh my god.
Oh, good job.
Dawn lucked out on that one as well.
Yeah.
Brandon is back.
Brandon's got one.
Awesome.
I will say I didn't even move for that one, and yeah. I sprinted.
So, Nathan, what ages do you think play the Wayne game?
Say pretty much any age, honestly. I mean, you want to be old enough not to get hurt when you're running around the house, but it really works for all ages. You don't need any sort of, you really don't need anything to play this. Did you come back with a spoon, Francis? No.
And one thing that I would say too, for our littlest members, sometimes navigating the cameras can be difficult. So for them, you can also just take a piece of paper or something and cover up your camera. And then all they have to do is remove that. And that's a great tip to make it easier or more accessible for everybody to play the Wayne game.
That would work. I've got the numbers tallied up here. In 5th and 4th place, we had Dawn and Francis with 15 points. 3rd place, we had Laura with 20 points. 3rd place, we had Brandon with 30, and 1st place was Samantha with 40.
Good
Only
job.
because of my brother and sister. Otherwise, I probably would not have gotten that.
You can leave here tonight champion of the Wayne game. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say about the Wayne game if you've played it?
So I just wonder, do you guys have thoughts on when during a meeting is a good time to play the Wayne game?
Maybe not a great one in the middle of it because it might be difficult to get people back to like paying attention. Maybe it is a
Although
good
if
one
you
to get people up and away.
Although if you started at the beginning of the meeting and then in between new and old business, say get a spoon, it's a good way to break up the meeting a little bit.
You bet. So actually, I really like that idea, Francis. So it doesn't have to be a long list all at once. You could break up the meeting by, here and there, like you said, between those two business sections, run and get this, run and get that. That's a great idea.
That would work to get especially younger kids kind of zone out. I mean, even adults zone out, but that would really help you engage and be like, I need to pay attention to this so I don't miss an item. That's a good idea.
And awesome. Looks like everybody's just about back. Yeah, I was in the main room group. Oh my goodness, this game can get like super competitive. But my favorite part about this is it gets everybody up and moving, gets the blood flowing. Everybody gets a little excited about trying to find 40 cents. I don't even know where 40 cents would be around here. So it just gets people super jazzed, and that's really cool. And that's the fun part of the Wayne game. So there's a handout that we'll share with you. Anything else you'd like to share about the Wayne game, Laura?
It started out as a camp game. And we've converted it to this virtual space, and it is magic in both places. One thing I want to say is that when we play Wayne game for different activities or other games too, I love to send some recognition out to my players. We've been sharing all kinds of activities with you tonight. It doesn't mean that the first time you offer it, every person in your club is going to come. You might still only have a few young people participating, and those young people matter. And so to build the excitement and the connection, I went to my local dollar store and got some of these teaching supplies. I write personal messages on the back and I fold them up and I put them in the mail. And after I do that, young people invite other young people to come and join next time. So keep trying. And building all of these parts into your meetings. Your young people need you right now. And I think that we all need our young people right now too.
That is such a great transition. As we come to the conclusion of this third round, I want to take a heartfelt second to thank the 10 young people, Francis, Brandon, Samantha. I'm not sure I'm going to name them all. I just see those are the ones I see in my screen. So the young people in your space that we're helping you to lead tonight, it reminds me that it is why we do this thing we do 4-H is for the young people who are inspirational and motivational and can use some support from adults who are willing to roll up their sleeves and play the games and do the things. And so thank you all for doing that with us. We really did intentionally build tonight to send you off on a high note with activities and hands-on pieces that you can move into your clubs or groups, whether you're in virtual, in those hybrid small group spaces, or when we are able to, back in person. The Wayne game would be really challenging to do if we were in person. You have to bring your entire kitchen sink with you. That could be fun. But we wanted to leave you with some hands-on activities. Everything that was in the Jamboard, keep filling it, everybody. Keep putting those notes in there. We will be compiling that. There are on the website that you registered for, under this third session, there are downloadable activity guides. So go there for inspiration, but please, please remember that your local educator is a great resource and a first stop for you. Call your local educator, say we're trying to find some games to play. And even more importantly, ask your youth officers, your older youth leaders, what could we do and how could we do it? Because my kids are virtually schooling and they teach me about things like Jamboard. I had no idea. My kids introduced it to me. So remember that your young people are there as resources. We will be continuing to do Clover Connection videos, more series like this in the future. We're not sure what that format will look like or how often, but please keep an eye out on your information from your local educator and our state staff team as well, as we round this out and come out with hopefully some very cool things in the 2021 beginning of the year. As we leave, we do want to remind you all that you are superheroes. We could not do this thing we call 4-H without you as young people. So Francis is on my, like I said, on the front screen with me. We couldn't do it without you as young people because 4-H would not be anything without young people there. We certainly could not do it without volunteers and the amazing work and the time that you contribute. So thank you for that. You are superheroes. And so I'm also a Grey's Anatomy huge fan. And I believe that if you stand like a superhero, you feel like a superhero. So as we leave today, I want you all to stand up from your computers if you have the ability to do so. Turn on your cameras and stand like the superhero that you are. Without 4-H leaders like yourselves, young people and adults, we are nothing. We are not nearly as strong as we are with you. So thank you for being superheroes. Thank you for being for giving of your time, energy, and talents. And we hope we'll see you really soon. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight.